Hi everyone, welcome to Life Tips by Ning. In today's video, I'm sharing how to analyze the Bazi chart if your daily master is a Yin Water called Gui in Chinese, looking like this, born in the spring season. Because Yin Water represents a gentler body of water like a little stream or gentle rain, in comparison to Yang Water, it does lack the strength behind this big rushing river or ocean, but its own strength lies within the adaptability and gentleness. Because think about the small body of water, you put in a cup, you put in a different type of container, it will change its shape to fit its surroundings and environment. So in water, people are super adaptable. Another example is like, let's say we overheat the water, it just becomes steam, or the environment is too cold, it becomes ice cube. But regardless, I'm changing my shape, but my core content and trait doesn't change. I'm just super adaptable to fit in the environment. So that's the superpower for Yin Water people. And in addition, they tend to be very, they have a lot of strong emotions. Some people might call those people sensitive or emotional, but if you use it to your advantage, that's a great strength that the other type of daily master might not have. But it also kind of creates this phenomenon that in water daily masters are not easily detectable. Like if you have the remaining 7 letters in your chart, right? If you have a super dominant, like a wood energy or like a non-water type of element that is very strong in your chart, then it might actually mislead other people to think you're that type of a daily master versus a yin water, because that trait is very obvious and in your face. It's easy to see. But unless you know this person for a very long time and get to know them on a deeper level, you wouldn't be able to tell the emotion, the strong sensitivity and strong emotions and adaptability I was just sharing earlier about this person. Is more hidden and in a very non-obvious way. But regardless, spring-born Yin Water people, the dominant chi for spring, especially February, March, and the first half of April, is very strong in the wood element. And the relationship between Yin Water and wood is Yin Water supports and grows wood. So wood represents my own expressor energy. So it's my own talent, my creativity, my freedom of speech, and I learn things super quickly. So most of the time, if you only look at those two energies, you can derive the conclusion those people are very smart and quick learners, they're very quick with it. But the question today is, what will make a good Bazi chart, knowing this is a wood energy and this is a yin water? What else do you want to see in your Bazi chart to make it a so-called good Bazi? That's why the February one, the main element for this position number 6 is yang wood, but it also has remaining of like a fire and earth type of energy in there, versus March is 100%, it's a yin wood energy, that's it, super pure, there's no other elements in it. So this is our starting point. Knowing that both is very strong in wood, and wood is a reduction of my own energy. It takes my own water's energy to produce it and grow it. Even though it represents talent, it still takes a lot of my own energy to do it. So that's why my number one favorable thing to show up is somebody supports myself, right? So I want metal, because metal supports and grows water, to make sure that I have enough energy to grow and support the talent or my ideas, my freedom or creativity. So that's why you want to see a strong and powerful metal in your chart, because that will make your Bazi in a more balanced state. The reason for February, you will also want to see Yang Fire as a secondary player in your chart is that the book says, because February is still fairly cold, so yang fire plays this kind of adjusting the yin and yang, or hot and cold, dry and wet type of climate to make it more in a balanced condition. But March, you don't have as much of that problem of being overly cold. So you're less reliant on this adjuster factor. But this is a secondary thing. The primary player you want to see is a strong and usable metal in your chart. And before I move on to April, another call out for this type of on the surface they're enemies because fire suppresses metal. So if you want to see both, the placement of them in your chart is very critical. So for example, if you have a yang fire here and the yin metal here, right? Even though awesome, I have a metal supports myself, this is a good thing to show up in your chart, but you kind of turn a yang fire into a threat versus make it usable, because if they're right next to each other, fire suppresses metal. It will make this metal, even though it exists, its strength is got reduced by this fire. And how to solve it is to separate the two. You don't want them to be neighbors. So let's say position number one is still a yang fire, but what if this is a wood type of energy? So you have a wood supports fire. That's perfectly fine. And then instead, we have number 4 to be a metal. Then I'm super separating this fire and metal energy. I meet this requirement of having them in my chart, but I also separate them successfully so they don't fight with each other and they can all do its own job in more focusing on the positive side of their contribution. So that's kind of the importance of positional placement. Last but not least is April. Again, the dominant element is kind of an earthy type of tone, and earth suppresses water. So that's a big stress and enemy. That's why metal not only supports myself, it also plays that converter role. It will redirect some of this earth energy into earth growing metal, and in turn, metal grows water myself. So it converts some of this stress, and the earth represented the stress and regulations or things that's kind of restrict and constrains you into something more usable. And this wood and fire combination is secondary as well. It's on the condition your daily master got the support and it's not super weak. Then you might say, April, if you use so much metal and water more they're on the wet and colder scale. So you want to balance that so-called climate control to have more the yang and warm, dry type of energy like wood and fire to balance the whole bazi, so it's not like super lopsided to the metal and water camp, which is, in a way, it's good for me to support me, but it also might create the downside of making the entire bazi too cold and damp. Then in that case, I already do my first job of making this Yin Water fairly strong and usable because of this metal support. Then you answer the second question of, so what? I'm strong enough, then what am I using my strength for? Then you use it to grow wood and fire to make it more productive. So I'm strong enough to grow this wood. It's just like my own business ideas or my talent. And then I use my business idea, talent, wood to grow fire. Fire represents the material wealth. Like I care about turning my thought and talent into something tangible. And if you don't have this fire, it might just, you're super talented, but it gets stuck in your head versus turning it into something you can see and touch. So that fire represents the concrete, practical side of things. So that's the why behind all of those answers. But again, in practice, there's so many other alternative answers that will still make the Bazi chart pretty good. So next episode, I'll just share a few case studies to kind of showcase some of these theories work, and then what are the plan B, plan C's that might be just as good to make a Bazzi chart awesome, and how to kind of identify a particular person's strength in life. As long as we all follow our strength, that's the whole point of learning this tool. So thank you for watching today, and I will see you next time. Bye.